When military analysts talk about winning the air war, they usually imagine one thing: air superiority. Yet not every nation pursues total dominance of the skies. Some simply aim to make the airspace so dangerous, so lethal, that no enemy dares to use it. This video explains the critical difference between air superiority and air denial, two fundamentally different doctrines that shape how modern air forces are built, equipped, and deployed. Air power is not just about the aircraft themselves. It is fundamentally about control over movement, over information, and over the timing of military operations. Modern air forces pursue this control through two primary strategic frameworks: air superiority and air denial. Understanding the distinction between these doctrines is essential, as it reveals why fighter designs, force structures, and combat concepts vary so dramatically from one nation to another. Air superiority is the ability to conduct operations in the air without prohibitive interference from the enemy. This does not mean achieving total, uncontested dominance, but it does demand a high degree of freedom of action. To achieve this, an air force relies on a complex system of advanced fighter aircraft, integrated sensors and command networks, offensive counter-air operations to neutralize enemy threats, and the logistical capacity for a sustained presence. This doctrine inherently assumes the need for power projection, often far beyond a nation's own borders, requiring long-duration operations and comprehensive control of the battle space. Air superiority is an immensely expensive strategic objective, but it grants the side that achieves it the power to shape the entire conflict. The key operational takeaway is that air superiority is an enabling force. It unlocks the full potential of land, sea, and information operations. Air denial, in contrast, pursues a completely different goal. Instead of seeking to control the air for its own use, it focuses on preventing the enemy from controlling it. This strategy relies on a layered defense architecture, combining long-range surface-to-air missiles, selective use of interceptor fighters, and sophisticated electronic warfare systems. The objective is not to secure freedom of action for oneself, but to create unacceptable risk for the adversary. If the airspace becomes sufficiently dangerous, enemy operations are forced to slow down, become severely limited, or cease altogether. Air denial is a more defensive posture, generally more cost-efficient, and highly dependent on the specific geography and environment of the conflict. The crucial insight here is that air denial is about making the airspace unusable, not about owning it. These two distinct doctrines inevitably produce very different kinds of aircraft. Air superiority fighters are designed with an emphasis on expansive situational awareness, deep integration into networked command systems, and the endurance and range needed for offensive missions. Conversely, fighters built for an air denial role prioritize raw interception speed, survivability against enemy attacks, and seamless integration with ground-based air defense systems. This doctrinal divide explains why some of the world's most advanced air forces invest heavily in stealth technology and global command networks, while others concentrate their resources on creating dense missile coverage and highly coordinated defensive postures. Neither approach is inherently better than the other. Each is a pragmatic response to a nation's unique strategic needs and resource constraints. The design of a fighter jet always reflects the doctrine it was built to serve. However, the nature of modern contested airspace is blurring the lines between these two classical doctrines. The proliferation of advanced sensors, extreme-range missiles, pervasive electronic warfare makes sustained theater-wide air superiority increasingly difficult to maintain. At the same time, modern air denial systems are becoming more mobile, flexible, and capable of projecting threat envelopes far beyond their own borders. As a result, air superiority is often a temporary and localized condition, not a permanent state. Air denial is no longer a purely static defensive strategy. Modern conflicts are increasingly defined by a continuous struggle for shifting windows of control, rather than a quest for permanent dominance. The future of air warfare, it seems, will be about managing control, not simply owning it. Ultimately, the choice between pursuing air superiority or adopting an air denial strategy is not a moral or purely technical one. It is a strategic decision driven by fundamental realities. The right doctrine for any given nation depends on its geography, its political objectives, its available resources, and the specific threats it faces. Some nations have global responsibilities that require the ability to project power across vast distances. Others are primarily concerned with protecting their own sovereign airspace. Understanding this critical distinction helps prevent misleading comparisons between aircraft and air forces that have been designed and trained for entirely different missions. Before judging the effectiveness of an air force, one must first ask what problem it is trying to solve. In the end, air superiority and air denial are not simple opposites. They are different answers to the same fundamental question: how does a nation control the air? One doctrine seeks to secure freedom of action, while the other seeks to deny it to the enemy. Both of these powerful concepts continue to shape how aircraft are designed, how forces are structured, and how modern wars are fought and won. If this video helped clarify modern air power doctrine, like the video and subscribe to Cut Everything. Which approach do you believe will dominate future conflicts, or superiority or air denial? Share your thoughts in the comments below.